2022 has been a great year for anime. From the second part of Attack on Titan's final season to Bleach's return, there have been so many great anime. But which one was the best? Well, I'm about to tell you. As the one man with the only correct opinion, here are my top 5 anime of 2022. Before we get into it, here's a list of anime I've watched this year. The highlighted ones are the ones that are eligible, and the non-highlighted ones are not eligible. I'm not including weekly anime that started before 2022 or seasonal anime that are yet to finish. Even if it's like, oh, but it's 2 cores. I don't give a fuck, alright? I'm taking the anime in its entirety. So no One Piece, no My Hero Academia Season 6. But if you really want to know that bad, My Hero Academia Season 6 would have been top 2 fighting for first place. And One Piece would have also probably been in here somewhere. But now, with that out of the way, let's take a look at the top 5 anime of 2022.
No-life nerd who's never gotten pussy before in his entire life.
Starting off this list, we got a couple honorable mentions. Animes that were really fighting for the top 5, but sadly ended up missing out. What anime met a fate so harsh? My Dress-Up Darling and Spy Family. Both were really close to taking a spot, and at times, both were on this list. But the fact that I completely forgot about them when I started writing this video and don't feel like rewriting it is what ultimately caused them to end up here. So if you really want, consider Spy Family or My Dress-Up Darling anywhere outside of the top 3, really. Coming in at number 5, we have Call of the Night, a show about a middle schooler named Ko who decides to go out past his bedtime one night, meets a vampire, Nazuna, and then decides that he wants to become a vampire in order to be able to enjoy the freedom of the night for all eternity. However, in order to do that, he needs to fall in love with Nazuna. Now, I've already made a video about this anime back when only like 6 episodes were out, and my opinion on it hasn't really changed much, so I'll keep this brief and just go over the things that stood out to me after finishing it. First, the creative direction of the show is easily the best out of anything I've watched all year. The director, Tomoyuki Tamura, the wonderful mind behind the Monogatari series, utilized his iconic quick cuts and vibrant colors so wonderfully, conveying the feeling of the night as well as both the intrinsic allure and danger that comes with hanging out with vampires. Animation style changes, bolded characters, and quick actions are just some of the methods he uses to grab the viewer's attention and hold them on the edge of their seat. On top of this, the plot is actually way better than you'd expect from a horny vampire anime, especially in the last few episodes when the detective is introduced, who, may I add, is a fantastic character, mainly because I've always wanted to be a detective and I really enjoy detective characters, but also because she adds some much needed entropy to the series. Anyways, this has gone on long enough. Like I said, I've already made a video about this anime and I think it was really good, so I'll leave a link in the description if you want to hear more. Go watch that. Ko is a great character, reminds me of myself more often than not. Sadly, Nazuka is a pedophile, but other than that, Call of the Night has all the makings of a great anime. Beautiful animation, a great soundtrack, interesting characters, a fun plot, and a femboy.
You're starting to get on my fucking tits.
16.
I'll smash my fucking head through a brick wall.
Maybe that'll help your memory.
The fuck is wrong with you, man? It was 17, goddammit. I wanna fucking strangle you.
Coming in at number 4, probably the biggest upset of the year, we have Chainsaw Man. Throughout 2022, Chainsaw Man was the talk of the town. Everyone was hyped for Mappa's next big project. It seemed like Chainsaw Man was gonna blow everything out of the water. So did it do that? No, not really. Chainsaw Man was good, don't get me wrong, great even. But for all the great highs it had, there were equally disappointing lows. They took a lot of risks with this anime, and that passion is something that I praise Mappa for, but it resulted in a very 50-50 experience for me. The story, although praised as super unique and not for those generic anime-loving normies, is a pretty standard story following a troubled goofball main character with a demon inside him, a dark-haired emo deuteragonist with family issues, and a loudmouth girl all banding together to fight against demons. Does that remind you of anything? I'm kidding. I know they're very different series. It's just, you know, it's a formula and every shonen follows it at this point. It really just feels like a classic shonen made for 14-year-olds instead of 10-year-olds. The characters are mostly good. Aki, Makima, Kishibe, and Himino, minus the pedophilia, are all great. Denji's good too, and I feel like he developed a lot throughout the season. Although I started off hating him, he slowly developed and I was like, you know what? I can tolerate him there now. Some of the fights felt insanely slow, like they were fighting in the Origins mud, but then some fights were great, like the Sword Devil vs Denji and the Sword Devil vs Aki. The realistic feel they went forth, although wonderful at times, ended up ruining a lot of the scenes for me by just making it like super unpleasant to look at. And speaking of unpleasant to look at, the color palette was atrocious. It was generally just bad. It made me not want to watch the show. It caused some character designs to look way more boring than they should have, and it made this whole world of crazy devils feel much blander than what you'd expect. Overall, although it may not seem like it because of all the negative things I have to say, I still enjoyed the show. Hence why it made my top 5 list, and it's also got a femboy, so that's good. But there were a number of things that on their own seem nitpicky, but combined together ended up taking a lot of enjoyment away from the show. Anyways, if you want to hear more of an actual review on the show, subscribe, because I'll be uploading a full-fledged Chainsaw Man review within a week of when this video goes up. That's a promise.
I'm Ohioan.
What? I thought you were black.
Moving on to number 3, Ochi the what? Ochi the who? Ochi The Rock. I just uploaded a video on this show. This is one I'll actually have to keep very brief because I'm just gonna repeat myself. If you want to see the full review, once again, I'll leave the link in the description. Go check it out because I think that video is pretty good too. Ochi The Rock is a story that follows Hitori Goto, aka Bochi, joining a band and doing her best to overcome her social anxiety so that said band can reach superstardom. It's a really funny, really well animated depiction of social anxiety mixed with awesome rock music and an inspiring story of overcoming your shortcomings for the sake of you and your friends' dreams. Bochi, Nijika, Kita, and Ryo are all fantastic characters who bounce off each other perfectly. Then there's Bochi's family, who are both hilarious and heartwarming, Nijika's sister, Saika, who's cool as fuck, the drunk bassist Hiroi, who's also cool as fuck, and Pasen, the hottest goth woman in anime this year. Creative animation, actually funny scenes, interesting and dynamic characters, a realistic depiction of social anxiety, and sick-ass music all come together to create the third best anime of the year. See? That was pretty brief, right? Moving on.
I didn't choose to make this building so fucking gay.
We're getting down to the wire here, folks. It's time for the second best anime of the year. Just missed out just a little bit. Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Ultra romantic. The third season to the best rom-com anime on the planet. This season of Love is War was fantastic. It embodied everything great about the show, delivering even more high-quality comedy than I expected and some of the best romance I've seen since Bunny Girl Senpai. There isn't a single minute that goes by without there being some sort of joke or romantic moment. Every single second of this anime has something to give you. The comedy is superb. I love the animation changes in it. I love the over-dramatization and the narrator that puts his whole life into every line. And remember how I said all the Ochi The Rock characters bounced off each other perfectly? Well, the Love is War cast is the same. Shirogane, Kaguya, Fujiwara, Ishigami, and Ino are all masterfully planned out to balance each other. Not only that, but they have something that the Kosoku band lacks due to it just being the first season, and that's history and development, both of which are used to make their interactions more substantial and dynamic. On top of this, it gives them more depth, turning the side characters like Ino into characters you can really understand. Love is War has comedy, romance, a Death Note-esque cat and mouse game, drama, great animation, great sound design, great music, and a fantastic ending to bring it all together. But there's one anime that has all these things dialed up to 11 and some minus the romance, and that's our number 1 pick, which is obviously none other than
Roman Reigns counters. Oh my goodness.
Mob Psycho 100 Season 3. The beautiful finale to one of the best new gen anime out there. Everything about this show is amazing. The animation is some of Studio Bones' best work. The soundtrack and use of music is perfect. The story arcs are all sad, epic, heartwarming, humorous, and fulfilling at the same time. The conclusions it gives to every character are all masterpieces. Speaking of the characters, every single one of them is amazing. Mob, Reagan, Dimple, Ritsu, Teru, Tomei and the Occult Club, Sho, Tuichiro, Serizawa. All these characters had at least one significant development or moment to close off their character. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then there's the fights. You wouldn't think an anime with so much emotion and plot could have amazing fights as well, but it does. Every fight in this season is amazing, with pretty much all of them looking like movies. But that's not even where the animation was at its best. No. The animation was at its best in episode 8, which reportedly had 20,000 hand-drawn frames. They had the Occult Club's journey up that mountain so smooth it brought a tear to my eye just looking at it. I could talk about this anime for ages, but for the sake of time and trying not to repeat myself, I'll just tell you guys to go watch the Mob Psycho review that I uploaded about a week ago and leave it at this. Mob Psycho 100 in its entirety is one of the most complete anime I have ever watched. It truly doesn't lack anything, almost like Cowboy Bebop in a way. It's able to beautifully present a story chock full of comedy, romance, epic and creative fights, unparalleled character development that, although amazing, is still realistic, amazing animation, an amazing soundtrack, interesting side characters, an easily understood yet dynamic power system, and so much more. The show is perfect, and season 3 was a perfect send-off. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the top 5 anime of 2022. I'm sorry, Bleach fans, for not watching the show. Anyways, that's all for today, folks. I do indeed hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for the Chainsaw Man video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Deuces.
The black Marty McFly resurrecting the real shit. So I'm sorry if I offend plenty of the fakes. See, I'm one of a kind, the hell of a guy. Came through with loss of the fight. They call me Philip J. Fly captain yesterday. Checkmate, your second place suckers are second rate. You ever been a plug but got the weight? Crack music got the finest shit coming from out the States. But wait, now hold the phone, man. We could take a minute to pretend that me and Dave's OCN doing niggas in. We got you and your girl moving and all her friends. Ain't worried about them threes, but them nines and tens. I can't wait to get bougie. My service is gonna be costly. The pick of the little niggas so haters can get off me. You think you ahead? I'ma be there shortly. Of course, we in the game like Charles Wade Barkley.